Good morning. I would like to convene the June 2024 Bridges and Tunnels Committee meeting. Mr. Buter, are there any public speakers?
Good morning. This morning we have 5 members of the public registered to speak. As a reminder, we ask all public speakers to adhere to MTA's rules of conduct and decorum, including speaking on topic. I would like to remind our public speakers that in the interest of time and fairness to all, speakers will be limited to 2 minutes. Please be aware that there will be a warning beep to remind you that you have 30 seconds to conclude your remarks. Our first speaker will be Jason Anthony, followed by Maddie's Bucky's Highland.
Good morning, everybody. On the Monday after my 38th birthday. This morning I'll be wearing my Amazon employee hat. We should all remember that as of next week, congestion pricing, quote unquote, used to be starting, but our beloved governor Kathleen Hochul Courtney did a 180 2 weeks from Wednesday. Something that we should remind ourselves is that we need to contact our elected officials in the city council, state senate assembly, and even in the federal level. Because not only congestion pricing will have an impact in our beloved Empire State, it will have an impact nationally. According to a New York Times article, other jurisdictions like Boston, Chicago, and even in the West Coast were considering to have congestion pricing implemented. And I would want to thank New York Times reporter Anna Lay to publishing an article like this, because New York was going to be the pioneer in the U.S. of implementing congestion pricing. So we need everybody, including you guys, board members, to contact every single elected official, because it's up to us, New York, to be the pioneers on congestion pricing, because it will have a long-lasting impact nationwide to have funding for everything from accessibility to everything. So that's all I have to say for this month. I'll see you guys in Community Rails.
Thank you for your remarks. Our next speaker is Maddie Bucky's Highland, followed by Joseph Morales.
Thank you, Mr. Better. Good morning, folks. I'm Matty W. Bucky's Highland. Today, I want to speak about congested pricing. Recently, the governor pulled the brakes on congested pricing. This project has been a crucial part of it since its implementation in 2019. At that time, it was under the leadership of the MTA's Bridges and Tunnels by Danny D. Crescenzo, and by its chairman, Patrick J. Foy. Unfortunately, that could be up to the next president to decide whether or not congested pricing goes forward or not. However, I do not support nor oppose congested pricing, I think it's important that we listen to our elected officials and what their opinions are. And second, with the upcoming Atlantic hurricane season coming, and with Colorado State University saying 23 named storms, I think we should suspend any tolls in the event if there was a natural disaster for evacuation purposes. That's all I have to say for this month. God bless each and every one of you. Mr. Butter, over to you.
Thank you for your remarks. Our next speaker is Joseph Morales, followed by Alita Dupree.
Good morning. My name is Joseph Morales. A few things to discuss this morning. One, I'm glad to see that the customer accident rates continue to steadily decline. And with the summer travel season and fluctuating accident rates at different facilities, more concentration should be given to safety improvements at the RFK, Bronx Whitestone Bridge, Hugh L. Carey Tunnel, and Verrazano Narrows Bridge that generally had higher incident rates and collision with injury rates than other MTA facilities. Also, I feel like more NYPD, TBTA, and state police should perform highway patrols near bridges and tunnels. Getting drivers to slow down near certain stretches, especially where you have, like the Throgslick Bridge, for example, you keep going down the highway and all of a sudden you have that curve. Getting drivers to slow down in these kinds of areas can really improve safety on bridges, and in spots where, like I just said, road could really improve safety on the bridges. Also, the MTA should invest in license plate readers like those on the Outer Bridge Crossing, Gothel's Bridge, and several other Port Authority facilities so that law enforcement on all levels can track vehicles that are either wanted for arrest warrants or other violations. It could also help us with our ongoing toll evasion crackdowns, and this could help to make sure that police make arrests in safe areas and don't endanger bridge users. This happened in 2019 when the Monty Hanukkah stabber was arrested in Manhattan due to readers on the George Washington Bridge. Lastly, I noticed that workforce development has substantially decreased from 173 in April 2023 to 12 in April 2024. We are also, from what the statistics looked like, on pace for 266 employees receiving training this year versus 1,065 last year. As employee accident reports are flat with decreasing lost time, more should be done to prioritize the importance of safety and continue to drive down these numbers. Thank you for your time this month.
Thank you for your remarks. Our next speaker is Alita Dupree, followed by Murray Bowden.
Thank you. Good morning to the chair. Alita Dupree, for the record, she and her with Team Folds. Just getting up here in Oakland. Maybe I'll turn my video on later. I'm going to talk about reports today. Good reports. Looks like we're doing very well with our revenue. About 94% recovery across the board. And also, we're looking at about 94% or so with our Easy Pass usage. So we want to continue our focus on that, help people get interested in Easy Pass and to develop more user-friendly ways for people to pay who don't have Easy Pass. I think everybody should have an Easy Pass if they live in the Easy Pass zone. But sometimes you get vehicles that come from outside the region, especially commercial trucks, large trucks. I'm going to talk more about the diversity reports. Thank you for the improvements to the diversity reports. Moving away from stereotypical colors and using really good clarifying language in our diversity reports. It looks like June is Diversity Month. And so I'm seeing this throughout our various meetings today. So don't know how many meetings I'll do, but please pass these compliments on to your other committees in that we're really doing well with our diversity reports. So overall, let's keep up this good work to ensure that we collect our revenue to keep the bridges safe. Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks. Our final speaker today will be Murray Bowden.
Well, I guess I've been doing things wrong for the last 20 years because what I used to talk about hasn't gotten solved. And since I had my 91st birthday last week, it's time to pass the charge on to you all. You all know when you get to a traffic light and it turns green, you got to honk the horn because the guy in front of you isn't paying attention. Kathy Sheridan, when she was chief engineer at Thruway, taught me one thing that's most important: consistency. Every time you look up, you have to see the same thing, and consistency promotes safety. What's up there now is the traffic engineers, 500,000 of them, have been doing it wrong for 20, 30, 40 years, and nobody can admit they've been doing it wrong. I haven't been successful. I've stood up here and talked about safety over and over again. Didn't get anywhere. And since I'm about to fade out, it's your responsibility individually When you see a traffic light and it turns green and you got to honk the horn, something's wrong. When that person looks up, they need to see white lines on the right, yellow lines on the left, regardless of what is usually done. Aggressive drivers are taking over. Distracted drivers are taking over. I can't do the job anymore. It's your turn. And if you don't take the time, then my grandchildren and my great-granddaughter I saw yesterday, they're the ones that are going to suffer. I didn't get it done. It's your turn to get it done. Why? It's the younger generation. You can see how they're changing and they do things differently. The Washington Post, one of the nation's better newspapers, may just go under. They stopped publishing ads about fossil fuel. Great loss of revenue. You don't see any fossil fuel ads anywhere anymore. How come? Somebody knows you can't tell people what they're doing because it's wrong. I can't do it anymore. It's your turn. And I want to thank all of the people here, other places, who taught me, because I didn't do this by myself. I'm not that smart, but I listen. And my job is now to encourage the next generation to take over the job, because I didn't finish it. Thank you.
Thank you for your remarks. That concludes public comments.
Thank you, Andy. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 2024 Bridge and Tunnel Committee meeting?
Move it. Second.
Second, a vote? Aye, all in favor? Thank you, the minutes are approved. President Sheridan, are there any changes to the work plan?
Good morning, Chair Barbas. There are no changes to the work plan. I would note that the first quarter 2024 Bridges and Tunnels Diversity Report is included in this month's committee materials. I've been advised there will be an MTA-wide diversity report provided at the Diversity Committee later today. I'd like to start by following up on a discussion from last month's committee meeting regarding Commissioner Albert's comments about collisions on the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. B&T's priority is safety, and the reduction of collisions on our roadways is central to that goal. We've made great strides to improve our safety record, and to put that in perspective, the data reveals collisions have been cut dramatically. Going back 5 years, we've seen nearly a 45% reduction in collisions, the rates across all facilities, and by nearly 50% at the Verrazano. And it's noteworthy, the reduction in collisions has occurred while we've had constant increases in traffic volumes. Last year was the highest ever recorded traffic for B&T. Now, this positive trend is due to a number of factors, which fall under what we call the 3 E's: engineering controls, education, and enforcement. We continue to pursue projects and initiatives which target safety improvements to the traffic environment. We raise customer awareness through enhanced signage, real-time information, and regional messaging. And our operations personnel remain engaged in traffic management and robust on-road enforcement. We are always looking for ways to build on our progress, and I'm pleased to mention 2 projects featuring major safety improvements at the Verrazano Bridge. One is well underway, and another on the horizon. The widening of the eastbound Belt Parkway from the bridge to the 8th Street exit will alleviate a congested merge point, reducing accidents in a collision-prone location, where traffic often backs up onto the bridge. A future project entails the reconstruction of ramps at the Brooklyn approach. Among the features of this work are the relocation of non-standard left exits to the right, as well as adding shoulders that were not part of the original construction. These projects in combination are expected to significantly reduce queuing and collisions on the eastbound upper and lower levels. I commend our construction and development colleagues under the leadership of Senior Vice President and Chief Engineer Joe Keane for spearheading these projects, which will further advance the positive downward trend on collisions for which B&T strives. Just in time for the kickoff of the busy recreational season, 2 newly constructed vehicular ramps touching down onto Randall's Island open in late May, months earlier than planned. The ramps are a prominent feature of a design-build project on track for substantial completion later this year, ahead of schedule and within budget. Early opening of these ramps mark an important milestone. I congratulate Joe Keane again and members of the RFK engineering team, Bill Neubauer, Armindo Montero, Ryan Caliberg, and Dave Queso for their diligent work on this project. I also want to commend our maintenance team for their work with our C&D partners to make sure everything was properly signed and clear to our customers before the first morning rush hour. It was an all-hands-on-deck team effort during the intense lead-up and all through the night, and a job well done deserves credit. Finally, earlier this month, New York State transportation agencies hosted an international technical exchange with a delegation of civil engineers and officials from the Dominican Republic. The visit focused on climate resiliency, emergency response, and preventive maintenance. I was proud to join my team representing MTA Bridges and Tunnels, along with our construction and development partners led by Joe Keane, plus the New York State Bridge Authority and New York State Department of Transportation. And we explored best practices with our distinguished guests. Last fall, the Dominican Republic experienced devastating damage from record rainfall and stormwater runoff. So we were deeply engaged in sharing expertise and lessons learned from our own experience with natural disasters, such as Superstorm Sandy. Following a tour of the B&T Operations Command Center on Randall's Island, we gave our visitors a comprehensive site tour of the Marine Parkway Gil Hodges Memorial Bridge and the Hugh Carey Tunnel, both of which saw extensive damage during Superstorm Sandy, and where we completed critical flood resiliency improvements. Collaborations like this are critical to promoting safety and improvements throughout the region and the world, and I appreciate the bond we forged during this valuable visit. And lastly, we've been providing the committee with regular updates on the Central Business District tolling program. While everyone here is aware of the temporary pause, there's been a lot of work done since last we spoke, so I'll turn it over to Chief Operating Officer Allison C. De Sereno for a brief status update.
Thank you, Kathy. As you're aware, after we received the finding of no significant impact, or FONSI, on the final environmental assessment last year, the team turned its attention to system implementation and construction, while the Traffic Mobility Review Board started the work and the very public process that led to their recommendations in November 2023. Subsequent to the recommendations in another public process, including 4 public hearings, the board adopted a toll structure and the team set to work on the NEPA reevaluation. I'd like to take a few minutes to walk everyone through the status of the team's efforts. The purpose of the reevaluation was to ensure that the effects of the adopted toll structure are consistent with the effects disclosed in the final EA, and the identified mitigation remains valid. The team reevaluated all 20 analysis areas: regional transportation, highways and intersections, transit economic conditions, air quality, noise, and environmental justice, to name a few. In the nearly 500 pages, including appendices, the reevaluation assessed and analyzed and compared the findings to the envelope of effects described in the final EA. Table 1.1 on page 23 of the reevaluation details all those effects side by side with the original 7 tolling scenarios in the final EA. The reevaluation found that the effects are consistent with those described in the final EA. Indeed, some of the adverse effects no longer occur, and others are on the lower end of those described. Importantly, on June 14, 2024, we received formal notice from FHWA that no additional environmental analysis is warranted, as the conclusions in the final EA and finding of no significant impact remain valid. With respect to infrastructure, all 108 toll detection points have been installed, with a little over 1/3 on existing infrastructure and the remainder on new poles or mast arms at new or existing pole locations. The team has also installed over 90% of the signs. With respect to the behind-the-scenes work, the roadway toll system marked substantial completion some weeks ago. Testing is ongoing and data is being collected for the before traffic numbers and patterns, and contractor staffing has been increased to ensure that images that need review could be handled in a timely manner. The back-office system code was pushed into production and has also been active for several weeks now, with testing underway using our fleet vehicles assigned to different types of plans and payment types to ensure the system is functioning as expected. And the team completed the internal work to create the required lockbox and separate financial flows for tracking and reporting of all revenue and expenses related to the project. As part of our mitigation commitments for low-income drivers, we already removed the $10 Easy Pass tag fee for those who do not have a credit card on their account. This benefits those who have already signed up for New York Easy Pass, as well as those who may sign up in the future. With respect to the discount and exemption plans, we continue to accept and review applications and the Assessment Center for the Individual Disability Exemption Plan is still doing assessments for those who had signed up. As you can see, a lot of work has been accomplished. From early analysis, conversations with other international cities and technology assessments, to developing and issuing the RFP for the roadway system and infrastructure, to the NEPA process with its extensive early outreach, working groups, formal hearings, development of mitigation, and thousands of pages of analysis, to the TMRB process and state SAPA process with more analysis, outreach, and hearings, to the board vote to adopt that toll schedule, to the reevaluation, excuse me, to the reevaluation, to the design, development, construction, and installation and testing of the roadway technology system, to the design, development, and testing of the back office system, to designing the application materials and portals for the various discount and exemption plans, setting up assessment centers for the individual discount exemption plan, conducting more outreach on how the system will work, how to sign up for the plans, and what type of transit fare discounts are available, and more. Importantly, we could not have gotten to this point without everyone who has been involved. Nearly 600 people have been involved at some point along the way since we began in April 2019. And this doesn't really include all the contractor, customer service representatives that have been helping sign people up for discount and exemption plans, and the contractor staff that has been doing image reviews for the roadway toll system. To the team and the many others who participated along the way, we wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Are there any comments or questions from any of the commissioners? Commissioner Albert.
Thank you for the update on the Verrazano. Do you have an estimated date of completion for the Belt Parkway widening from the bridge to Bay 8th Street?
I'm going to ask our construction and development folks to give an update there.
Hi, that project's expected to be completed by the end of this year. Hopefully by Labor Day, we should be opening up most of it and doing final site restoration.
Commissioner Fleischer.
Kathy, I want to thank you and your team for cracking down on ghost plates.
Thank you. Commissioner Albert.
Yeah, I have a question about, it's on page 38, I believe. It has toll collection rates and it lists the various crossings. If there is a malfunction of the equipment to read those, does that show up on this screen, or would that be a different place? As opposed to someone trying to hide their plate or just speeding through, if it was malfunctioning equipment, how would it be reflected on this chart?
I'd have to take a look at the chart you're referring to, but we can separate it out in a granular way, so we have the data. I don't know if it's reflected in the particular chart you're looking at, but I'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Commissioner Mack.
Andrew, I think that as soon as the system goes, if one lane goes out, immediately they close it. Very
Yep.
well said, hopefully.
Okay. Finally, there are no procurements this month, and this concludes B&T's report.
Thank you, Kathy. May I have a motion to adjourn? Vote? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.